To get started, I want to give a huge thank you to everyone who has joined us for the webinar. We're so excited to have you, and Goals is something that we're very excited about. It's a new app that we have launched in Hive that is available now for a beta test, which you can find in your app store, and you can enable it there. And there are a few different ways you can go about adding and creating goals, which we will get into throughout this webinar. So today's session, we're going to talk about a few things. First, our CEO, John, is going to talk about why goals are so important, not only to him as a founder and a leader, but to everyone just in terms of the new culture we're in with hybrid work and with work as a whole as it progresses in 2023 and beyond. We're also going to talk about where you can find goals, how to set goals for your team, how to use goals, and answer any questions, as well as give a little bit of a demo of how goals work in Hive. And our Hive hosts today, we've got me, Michaela. You might have seen my name in your email inbox. I frequent it. I am on our marketing team, and we have Kelly as well, who's our product manager and specialist for goals. She's going to be here helping and providing answers throughout. We've also got John, who is our CEO and co-founder, and goals were kind of his brainchild, which is very cool. So I'm actually going to pass it over to John now to talk a little bit about goals, why they're so important, and how he has kind of envisioned goals coming to life. Oh, I can't hear. Can anyone else hear John? I can't hear him. Yeah, I don't think
John, we still cannot hear you.
Oh, you sound kind of like a robot now. The ongoing AirPod struggle. I feel like we know it all too well. Yes, you're good.
Better now. Thank you so much. All right. Thank you for everyone's patience, and sort of hello to those who I haven't spoken to before. So I am, as Michaela said, very excited about goals. It really was my original mission at Hive, right? Was to, we care about helping teams accomplish their goals faster, and it's only really now that we've been able to fill in the final piece of that. When I was younger, my father was big into American history, and I remember watching old newsreel of America, and I remember this speech from JFK where he sets out this crazy goal in 1961 to reach the moon by the end of the decade. And I've always thought a lot about that, because what a heck of a coincidence that we landed on the moon in 1969, right? 6 months shy of that goal. And I personally believe that we wouldn't have done without setting a time frame and a clear goal. And I believe that we are best when we're together, and we're even better when we can share clear goals that we're going after as a team. Michaela, if you push on, I can talk a little bit about how we're approaching that at Hive. So there's two more factors that tell us why it's extra true now. It's been true since time immemorial, but it's extra true now. And there's two reasons why. The first one is Gen Z is arriving. It seems only yesterday that we were talking about the arrival of millennials in the workplace. It's been true for a long time now that the majority of workers in the States are millennial, and Gen Z is showing up. And the same thing is true for the move to hybrid work is also a key reason why we would extra care about having a very strong sense of shared goals. And the two reasons why this really matters. First one is Gen Z are very, very clear that they care about purpose, mission, focus, and a sense of direction. And there are these crazy quotes, right? Literally saying that they would rank sense of purpose or mission above pay. They would take a pay cut in order to work with a strong sense of purpose. And so at what time could it be more important to make sure that we are absolutely crystal clear about what we're trying to accomplish together? And then on the flip side, hybrid work, right? Some of us, of course, are strongly back into the office. Some of us aren't. at Hive we're hybrid, but like, again, like at what moment would it be more important to have crystal clarity about what we're trying to accomplish together, both on the positive side, keeping people feeling motivated, ensuring they're working on things that matter, and kind of on the negative side as well, right? Being crystal clear about what we were trying to accomplish this year, this quarter, this month, and being crystal clear if members of the team or whole teams are not quite living up to our shared purpose and goals. So just to reiterate, we're arguing Gen Z is arriving and all they care about is goals. And we've all just lost the office where we used to share what we're doing. So geez, we need goals more kind of now than ever. Michaela, do you want me to cover the product stuff in its entirety through to my favorite little bee?
I think I can quickly just share kind of the idea of goals before John gets into the ultimate Hive goal and how we measure it. But I quickly just wanted to note that goals are exactly what John has described. It is that North Star for your team. And in the Hive app, you are able to set goals, set sub goals, assign them to your teammates, visualize that cascade of goals, provide status updates, share your goals, and we'll be getting a little more into that. But kind of taking what John said and bringing it into Hive, this app is basically the accumulation of our study and the learnings we've had over the last year, 2 years, learning about how people like to work, the future of work, and people's attitude towards work and what is important to them. And one more thing before I pass it back over to John. Traditionally in Hive, you've seen projects, tasks, and these smaller day-to-day items that you've been able to check off. But this edition is really bringing the end-to-end work platform into one place in Hive, where you're able to marry your strategy with your projects, your tasks with your sub goals, and able to bring everything together much more clearly, which we're extremely excited about. So it's end-to-end work management, collaboration, document management, reporting, and it's just a central place for you and your team to connect. I think that John, I'll do this side quickly, and just to give a better idea of how the goals cascade. We all know that things start with a main goal, an ultimate goal for your team. And throughout this demo and demonstration, I'll show how kind of the goals cascade down from that one big goal that you set. So landing on the moon, and the individual goals that are broken up throughout that process. And another thing that we'll touch on is the ability to centralize the tracking of goals, which is something that we found incredibly important for us, especially since we have a lot of disparate tools and places that things occur. We wanted to make sure that Hive could pull in data from other sources to help you achieve and monitor your goals and really be able to track your progress. So I'll pass it back over to John to show you how he likes to monitor that ultimate goal at the top of the cascade from a CEO level.
So I've got disappointing feedback from the team that what I believe was an awesome homemade bee looks somewhat more like an ant. But if you try and imagine with me that this has more of a bee-like appearance, this is BuzzBot. And if you think about it, the goals, products, and the stuff that we're going to talk about today, you can ladder up goals from the front line, from other tools. You can ladder them all up so that you end up with one goal at the top that is a amalgamation of all the goals underneath. And because I'm still a nerd at heart, I hooked that up to a smart bulb that is just across the room from me, which gives a summary of the worst status of any of the goals at Hive. Now, of course, I set it up to be red to make the photo look good. We would never be red at Hive. But it's just an example of the sheer power of this, that I can literally glance across the room and see the overall status of everything we're working on at Hive in one light bulb. That just shows you how powerful this can be. And remember, as Michaela's going to talk about, that's not just about stuff that's inside of Hive. That's things like our sales, our leads, things coming from other tools. That's HubSpot, Salesforce, Intercom, Status Meter. We have it all hooked up, and all of it is coming to this bee butt, right? It's giving us a status of how we're doing across the whole piece.
And John, this is just an example of what John is talking about. So you can see this top goal is kind of what a BuzzBot would be showing you. So if everything for this top goal is on track, then you would be able to see that BuzzBot would be green, and throughout the goals cascade, you would see these different levels of goals that teams have set. So an example is, our top goal at Hive could be an ARR or revenue goal. And then the next level down would be the team goals. And further down, it would go all the way down to individual goals. But as John mentioned, all of these goals, the sole purpose of the sub goals, the sub goals, is to ladder up into that one big goal. So John isn't just tracking BuzzBot for nothing, right? It's like the CEO is able to understand how what everyone is doing is laddering up, and everyone is able to feel that sense of accomplishment because what they're doing is behind there. There's a central purpose behind it. And as John mentioned, this is a huge focus for a lot of the people that have entered the workforce in the last few years and might not have been in the office, to be able to see exactly how their work impacts the whole business is absolutely critical. So I just wanted to quickly touch on how to use goals in Hive and take you through a few different use cases that I've found interesting. And I've been doing a bit of research on how, everyone around the world is using goals and how that could be imported into Hive goals. So an example here would be that ultimate goal could be a CEO or company goal. So I was doing a little research about what Boeing's goal is. So Boeing's goal for 2027 is to have $76 billion of revenue. So for them, that would be their ultimate goal. For some people, it could be that $100 million in sales. And the bottom line is that for this ultimate goal, it's probably set by your CEO or founder who want the company to be successful. They started the company, they probably have a bit of ego in it, and they want everything to end well. Employees also want a North Star. So they, like I said, they're the Gen Z, they're some people just entering the workforce. They want to know what they're working towards, whether that's that 76 billion, that's their, sales number, all these different things. And this is going to be, like I've said, at the top of your goals cascade, this is going to be the thing that everything else ladders up into. The next level down in that cascade that I've shown you is kind of the sub goals. This is where the sub goals start. So this is a group initiative. So these are basically your different team leads. It depends on obviously how your company or organization is set up. But for an example, let's say we're talking about a Boeing or perhaps at Hive. So for Boeing, one of their goals was to increase their digital marketing and increase their customer storytelling. So for their team goal, one of the team leads could perhaps be tell 10 customer stories per month across all platforms. And in that goal, that team, everything they're doing would be laddering up into that team goal, one level below their goal of generating that revenue, which, these goals are all teeing up into that larger goal. And team leads are ultimately judged on the successes of their team. Teams want to be successful together. So goals is a great way to hold teams accountable while also understanding how the work they're doing is contributing to that larger goal. Another great thing that I love about goals is that it gives you everything you need to know at a glance. So it's updated automatically through a couple different mechanisms, which I'll go into when I talk you through the exact nitty-gritty of goals. But I wanted to just make sure that everyone understands kind of like the goals cascade and flow, because I think that's the most important conceptually, especially for me, is seeing how everything works together and how what I'm doing, even just this webinar, right, is working towards Hive's larger goals. And that automatic progress and update is extremely helpful because all you've got to do is click into the goals app and you'll be able to see how you're progressing. Another level down, we can think of personal goals. So this is, you have a team of 10. I am one in a team of many. So this is my goal that I would set for myself that are tangibly connected to my work. And something that we know motivates us all is, performance, bonus, showing everyone how well you're doing. And it's really helpful for me specifically, and on the marketing team, we've been working over the last 6 months to really chart out specific goals for each teammate. We're all in different places, actually. The whole marketing team is remote in different areas. So for us, it's really important to not only have weekly, monthly, quarterly stand-ups, but also be able to set our own personal goals and monitor these, which then feed up into the team-wide goal, which has been really great for us, especially. And like I said, we have our weekly syncs where everyone looks at all of our goals cascades under the marketing team goal, and then we're able to see our overall progress, which I quite enjoy. And then a little more into the nitty-gritty. So you've heard me talk about the idea of goals and the concept, but how does it work? First of all, goals is an app, like I mentioned. To get the Hive apps, you're going to be going to your left-hand panel, clicking apps, and then from there, you're going to enable goals, which is currently in free beta. So once you enable goals, you'll be able to create a goal from a few places. One is that blue new dropdown that you see where you create projects and actions from. The second one is going to be just from the goal app. There's going to be a little add goal section. So you're going to be able to click in there. And once you've started to identify your goal or create your goal, there are going to be a few different ways you can track and monitor things. So there are a few options here. So because we're in Hive, which is project management, and you've already got your actions and projects in, this is the automatic part that's really fun. So you can just funnel in your actions and either overdo or status of those actions into your goal to automatically track your progress. So if for me, my goal was 4 webinars a month, I could check off this one after we're done and I'd be 25% to my goal, and I would be tracking things based on completed actions. Another option that's a bit more manual, but really effective, I think, for sales teams, if you're a Boeing or if you're working towards a huge goal, being able to track that great master goal based on a number. So you're able to quickly input, we're at 20 billion out of 76 and see the progression with that numerical value as opposed to just those actions. Again, the main thing I'm trying to send home here is the importance of this cascade. So when you're setting up your goals, you don't just want to make one, you want to, set them up so everyone on your team understands how they're progressing and what they're working on. And something that's great about goals is that it works just like actions or projects in the sense that there's a parent and then there are sub goals, sub goals, sub goals, and it all kind of works neatly together, and actions and projects can be tied into those goals as kind of the smaller Lego pieces. You can also add in your goals description and provide status updates, which is just another way to let your team know how things are moving. If you have any specific notes you wanted to add about your goal or any other context, there's a part just like in your action cards where you'll be able to add that little description and provide that additional context. Once you've kind of identified the flow of your goals, so let's say you have 4 sub goals, 1 ultimate goal, you want to start adding your deadlines. This is exactly how you would do it in action cards. So you would be adding your date, your timeline, whether you want this to be a recurring goal, a one-off goal, if it's a goal for a year. We have a ton of options here, similar to how we have in actions, which I think make things quite easy to map out. And finally, as we all do as projects progress, things change. You might have to update a goal, you might have to change the timeline, update the status, look at the history, set a reminder, monitor things here and there, and you're able to do all of that in the goals app, which is very exciting. And anything you do at the sub goal level will be then reflected in the upper goal. So let's say I did something to really set off BuzzBot, and something is totally off track. That adjustment would then be reflected in the parent goal. So this is a great way to keep tabs on everything that's going on and really keep communication up with your team. Now, I've talked a lot, but I'm going to give a quick demo of how exactly to get to goals in Hive and take you through a few more things before we get to a Q&A. Let me quickly share my Hive screen. So now I've talked about this cascade nonstop. Here it is. But if you want to get to goals directly, you're just going to go to apps. You're going to go to goals. You're going to toggle on goals. Something else that I love is this pin ability will pop goals up right here for me. And to set a goal, now the goals is enabled. Like I said, you can either go to this drop down here, so you can set a goal this way, or you can just open up goals here. And you can see that I've added a goal already, but like I mentioned, the ability to add a goal is also right here. So if I wanted to create a new goal, I could name my goal. I would be able to set an owner, like I mentioned, a time range, as well as, oh, okay, you don't see my mouse moving. Are you able to see my Hive screen? Is everyone able to see Hive on my end?
I can see it, Michaela. I'll answer
Okay,
questions.
okay.
You're good.
Great. And once you've set a date range, this is where you would set your goal measurement. So like I mentioned, this is where you would either set the goal to be measured based on numbers. So like if you're Boeing and you want your goal to be 76 billion, let's say you're at 20, this would be how you would create your goal. And then you can see here, this goal would then be depicting this percentage of how you've accomplished things against the general goal that you have. And to show you a created goal that I've already made in chart view, you can see here, I'm just going to remove this so we have a cleaner goal tree. You can see here that this is the goal that I've identified and added as the parent goal. And from here, I've added that this metric is going to be tracked based on actions completed, and the actions that I'm going to use to work through this goal can be selected here. So let's say you've got a project or specific actions that are going to be directly associated with this goal. So the completion of these actions, or what the goal hinges on. You'll be able to select those actions, save changes, and then these actions will be shown directly in the goals pop out. You'll also be able to click onto these actions and get directly to the project associated with them from the goal. So it's really cutting down on a lot of the context switching and back and forth. So you know that if this goal is dependent on these actions, our progress is going to be directly related to them. And if you want to, you're able to quickly click in and make any changes that you need to the specific actions, which will then be reflected in the goals. And you can see here that this is a sub goal. And up here, you'll be able to see how the goal, where the goal ladders up into, which is the CEO and organizational goal. If I wanted to click back into the sub goals, I would be able to quickly click here. And from here, like I mentioned, I can add a description. I could check the goal activity. I could change the owner. I could change the time range. Also, the ability to update the status is extremely helpful. So if you wanted to tell your team that something is at risk, this is a quick click, similar to how statuses work at an action card level. You would also be able to request a status update, which is really interesting because this is an easy way for teams to, for team leads to see what's exactly going on here. Would you be able to provide me more information? Is it a recurring status update you want to check on, and so forth? A few more things I want to show you before I pass it over to Q&A. You are also able to filter in your goals tree. So you're able to filter based on status or assignee, which is really exciting because this basically is a filter similar to how we use filters across projects and tasks. This just helps you organize and streamline your work. If you want to go back to goals in list view, you just click right over here, similar to the placement of the setup in projects in Hive. And then here you can see that this is your goal widget, which is a great central location. If you wanted to add any more goals, you click right here. One other quick thing I wanted to show you was the creation of goals from this new section. So if you wanted to, if you're just used to going to that blue new section, just hop in and you can start creating your goals from there. Finally, I wanted to show you that you can have notes, you can have goals in pages. So if you've been using pages, which is one of our new dashboard features, you're able to actually add widgets to pages, and the goals widget has just been added here. So you will be able to see and visualize and understand your goals progress in your dashboard, in your pages, which is a great way to kind of make sure that all of the tracking and monitoring is centralized in one location. And if you wanted to turn this off for any reason, you would just go back to your apps and you would be able to enable or disable it. And here you can also decide how much basically you want to view of your goal. If you want to view the sub goal, if you don't, that's your choice. It's totally customizable, which I love. Okay, great. I would love to take any questions that anyone has. If anyone wants to write them in the Q&A box, I would be happy to answer them live. If not,
Michaela, I've got the answer for several questions that just came in. I'll
go ahead.
I will cover it live. The question is, when does the beta end? What happens afterwards? Is everybody going to be updated to the premium version? Are we going to have to pay for goals as an add-on? The best answer I've got for everybody is this. We're still learning from all the usage of goals in this beta period. So we don't have a clear answer for you yet. However, what I want to say is that anyone who is on this call who is going to create a goal by the end of the day is going to be grandfathered in, meaning you will never have to pay for goals. So regardless of what happens down the line, you get goals for free. So I would just encourage everybody to create a goal, and we're gonna make sure that we've got everybody's usernames, and you're gonna be grandfathered in.
I see we've got a few other questions. I think Kelly might be best to answer these, our product manager. Kelly, did you want to take any of these questions?
Yes, I didn't. I meant to type one of them out and then I accidentally answered live. So is there a way to track progress of actions over time? So we do have a goals activity at the bottom of the goal. If you scroll down and click activity, you'll be able to see the updates over time. We are also working on a way to visualize those changes over time. So if you have a long running goal, you'll be able to see kind of the changes as the goal has progressed. Next question, is it possible to set up a goals template? That is not available at the moment, but I will add that to our feedback forum. We do also have a category for both goals and pages, two of our newest apps in our feedback. So if you do have any feature requests for those, you can send those to that forum, and I'll send that link in the chat here in a second.
Thank you very much. Would you take the next one as well? Will goals be integrated into other apps, i.e. workflow automation,
yes.
Forms, etc.?
Yes, so goals is now available in Pages. So we have a goals widget in Pages. In terms of other apps, workflow buttons, automation, etc., we are working on a goals integration for automation so that you can pull in goals from other sources or information from other sources like Salesforce or HubSpot. More on that will be available shortly. And then any other integrations can be, any other requests can be added to the forum.
Thank you very much. What about goals for hours in projects or budget?
That is another thing that we are working on. We don't have this available yet, but that's something that we're looking at.
Thank you, Kelly. Is there a way to pull a report in some format that I can share with the board periodically?
Yes, so that goes back to your first question, Chuck, about like a historical report of a goal. So when we're looking at like visualizing a goal history, that would be something that you could export. We don't have that available yet, but that's something that we are working on.
And if someone wanted to just export the goal as a whole, or download it as an image, Kelly, would they be able to do that?
You cannot export yet. I would recommend just taking a screenshot.
Okay, thank you, Kelly. Chuck, my team and I are new to Hive and love it. Thank you, Chuck. Thanks for joining us. Is there ability to create goals related to Agile or sprints?
Again, not yet, but that is something that can be added to the forum. That would be
awesome.
Great.
And as a follow-up, I will also be sending along a form after this where I would love to have everyone either ask any additional questions, or if you have a goal that you don't know how to set up, you've tried to play around and you want to get in before the day is over to have goals free forever, you can write in and I will help you set up your goal in Hive. So I will be happy to help you. I know sometimes new things can be intimidating. And then one more, if I have a template for certain types of projects that we execute frequently, can I have the goals track those template actions so that any future projects created from the template would automatically be included? So basically ensuring that specific projects or tasks would always be looped into a goal, if I'm understanding correctly.
Yeah, that is an interesting one. That is not something that's available now. But we can take a look at that for the future. I did also just add, I hope everyone saw it. No, I don't think I can actually. Michaela, is there a way to send a link to, oh, here we go. I'm sending the link to our feedback form to everyone. So if you follow that link, you'll be able to add any of your goals or pages or general requests to that forum. And myself and the rest of the product team, we monitor that frequently and we'll move things in.
Great. And then
Kelly, sorry, I think one of the questions was to Michaela specifically, where do we write in to get help with our goals?
Yes, I answered it in the chat, but I think I might have removed the answer. So I'll be sending out a form after this to everyone on the webinar, which will have all the contact information. And when you receive the presentation, which we'll also be sending, there will be a slide at the end, which will show you our contact, and you can always reach out to just marketing@hive.com with any questions. You can also just shoot me an email there right when we get off the call if you have a specific goal in mind and you want to be first in line to get some help. One question, can I automatically set sub goals to equal subtasks in a project? Kelly, do you know?
I am not exactly sure what you're looking for here. What you could do is when you create a goal and set it to projects, there is a way to include sub actions in a goal. So you could do that, but there's no way to kind of automatically set that up.
Yeah, Kelly, one observation there is I don't think it's yet available to customers. I think it may still be on beta, but just observing the user pathway of creating actions on the goal might match what that person's hoping to accomplish. Do you know what I mean? So I create my goal, I create a bunch of stuff underneath. It will both appear on the goal and be in the project that I've picked for it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. That's a great point. And that is, as John mentioned, on beta, so will be available very soon.
Great, thank you guys. I see a new question that just came in. Are goals just project oriented or will they ever be more resource oriented? Thinking this might be applicable to personal growth inside the organization.
Yeah, definitely. So when you're setting up a goal, if you choose the number type for your goal, that is very flexible, and you can add any sort of custom units to that. So it doesn't have to be project or action based. I would recommend the number goal for something like that.
Great, thank you, Kelly. Any more questions before we wrap things up? I'll wait a few more seconds to see if anyone writes anything in. I see Nikki, I see you have your hand up. If you have any questions, would you mind just dropping it in the Q&A just so we can track it all? Miguel says, will completed goals be visible in a person's profile inside Hive or in a project overview?
So yes, they will be visible in the goals list. You can filter to completed goals. You can also filter to goal owner. What I would recommend and what my team has started doing is creating a page for like a one-on-one situation. You can link your goals to that page via our new goals widget, and then that's how you can track your goals project progress or any completed goals through there.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think that Miguel, for tracking those things, I think that pages would be really helpful if you wanted to pull in individual personal goals per person or per team. Sean says, when searching actions, it shows all actions even completed. Is there a filter to select? We have recurring weekly and monthly actions. I'm not sure.
So there's not a status filter for our actions. I would recommend you can search on title for those recurring actions. If you attach a recurring action to a goal, it should remain and keep track of all instances of that recurring action.
Wonderful. Thank you, Kelly. Great. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Like I said, I will be sending along a follow-up and form for any goals that you have that you would like us to help you set up in Hive. And like Sue's mentioned, like if you do this before the end of the day, you will be grandfathered in. And yes, Carrie, this recording will absolutely be sent out. It will be sent out at the end of the day or before. Christina says, any plan for dashboards or OKRs? I'm not sure if Pages covers that or if there's something more specific. Kelly, do you have any insight?
Yeah, TBD. That's something that we're thinking about and working on, and kind of related back to goal history and goal progress over time and exports and all of that good stuff.
Great. Wonderful. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, John and Kelly and the Hive team. And again, please reach out if you have any questions to marketing@hive.com. And okay, I see Rachel has one more question. And another, yes, everyone will get a copy of the recording. I will be sending it out today. So if I create a new goal by the end of the day, my company will be grandfathered. I think Sue's handled that. Okay. Well, I think we're all set for now. Again, thank you so much. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day and week.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks all. Bye-bye.
Bye.